Welcome to Archeryshack Shop Talk 142. TJ's at the beach. Russ was here, and we are doing a podcast. We've got a new device here. Should I show them?
I like it.
I'm
that
gonna
music.
set it off. I don't know that I'll be
Press
able
some buttons, man.
I'll push the next one. We've got Russ with us. Oh. Okay.
And then every time we tell a joke, you can hit the yeah.
And I can also call somebody. So we'll try that out sometime.
Who's here that can't defend themselves?
We could call TJ, but he might be laid up naked or something.
No, he's not. He's at Calabash enjoying crab legs.
Yeah. We'll leave him alone.
Sound really, really good right now.
So
well, it's been a while for me. I haven't been here.
Russ.
I accidentally ghost. There's such a term as accidentally ghosting.
Oh, God.
So you got accidentally ghosted for 2 years?
Russ went to our, first tack with us and came around and then, straight up ghosted. I would text the man, Facebook him. I could see that he's seen the message. Nothing. Called him a time or two, texted, Facebook, Marco Polo.
Somebody hacked my face page, and I couldn't get into it.
Bullshit.
Somebody else was checking my stuff, man.
Anyway, so then
it was
he does a job change and comes rolling back in.
My life is back.
For how long, though? Like in 2 weeks?
It's for good this time. Nah, man, I kind of know where I'm at this point in my life.
Let me tell them about what you've done. Russ worked for 84 Lumber for quite some time. Has the tattoo to prove it. And, can you see it on there? What year? You were like the number one salesman in the whole United States.
I don't even remember, homie.
This dude.
I sold lumber for 20 years. I was at 84 for 20 years.
20 years.
Including the time I was when I was a truck driver. When I started out driving the truck for him and delivering to a lot of the old school builders that were here, local in Anderson. It was before national builders kind of got here, and there was maybe 2 in Greenville.
But you've just got the personality. Everybody likes you. And I think
not everybody, but 90% of them, I can pride myself on. I can be whoever I need to be. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I can be gay. I can be black. I can be country. I can be city slicker. I can kind of be it all.
Gotcha.
But, I genuinely enjoy everybody, no matter where you're from. You know what I mean?
We met 2001-ish.
You was a young buck.
Yeah.
Bucks and bass.
And I started working on your bows.
You were ruining Oakwood.
And then you called me to your house.
I think that's what it was.
You called me to your house and was like, let's open up an archery store and I'll back it. And I was like, hell no. Partners never work.
Yep, sure did.
And then, let's see, Lord, Bucks and Bass went away. You were friends with my competitor. And then one random evening, me and Partain are in here making bowstrings, and here comes Russ rolling in. We're like, who's this pulling up at nighttime? And you were like, it's me, bitches.
Yep, I'm back.
And that was 2018-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2001, I bought my first Matthews. Up until then, back then a bow was a bow. You know what I mean? I had a Darton, I ran it over with the truck, shot aluminum XX75 arrows, and there was basically 2 broadheads.
So Black Eagle arrows last year before bought Darton. So I think they're going to make Darton
better,
big, yeah.
Honestly, I run that truck over with run that bow over. It had to be a 85 Toyota Tacoma, still shot. You know what I mean? But stuff was as well as I do. Stuff was durable. Stuff was made correctly. You know what I mean? Not correctly. It just wasn't as efficient, but it was It was built to last forever and ever.
I don't think you've met Devin yet, but Devin's wife ran his bow over a year or two ago. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She like threw the Prius in reverse.
She didn't total it.
His brother's bow.
She didn't total the Prius hitting the bow.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, I bought my first Matthews from Frederick Taylor.
Oh, Freddie.
In 2001. Bought my first Matthews, and man, I stayed a Matthews guy for a long time.
Did you meet Freddie at Bucks and Bass, or you knew him before?
Nope, I met Frederick he was at Bucks and Bass.
No shit, I thought y'all knew each other before.
He had just got out of college. Stayed friends, hunted a lot with Freddie over the years, and then he moved to Kershaw or to Ross, somewhere to work at a battery plant.
Lancaster.
There you go.
Let me work on my volume, okay.
And man, he was back in town one day. I was like, hey, dude, why don't you come work for me at 84?
I remember that.
Get the hell away from down there in Lancaster. And he's like, for real? I'm like, hell yeah. So he came, he worked for me and destroyed a brand hammer new like S10 4-wheel drive, ruined that truck.
I remember that truck.
Yep,
ZR.
I loved that truck.
Making sure everything's still on. I remember like he left Bucks and Bass, and I remember like the newspaper was big then, and there was like a write up. Freddie went to Pennsylvania to learn about 84 lumber or some shit, and I was like,
So he stayed with us for a long time at 84, and then left and kind of went to Hill, and then, just over the years, you're a competitor. I spent a lot of time over there, sold a lot of bows. And it to a point, like, everybody's got the engineering that they got now. It don't matter what bow. You know what I mean? So you're kind of brainwashed into thinking it's got to be a Matthews or it's got to be a Hoyt. And like the cop told me one time, you really wanted to do it, you could kill somebody with a pool stick or a ball bat. It don't have to be a knife or a gun.
True that.
So what do we really want to talk about today?
Hell, I don't know.
I want to talk about bullshit stories that get told to the bow guy. Because I got one I want to talk about.
I'm going to get into it with this. A guy was in here last week, and not to go deep in the story, because I don't know if he listens or not. And if he does, that's fine. But he bought a bow about 4 months ago from us or something like that. Kept coming in with the string off of it. So typically that just means you're torquing it at full draw, and either when you let it down, the string's jumping off, or when you shoot it, the string's jumping off. And in this particular case, the bow was super low, on low poundage, because I think he was brand hammer new. Like, it was on 40, 45 pounds, adult guy, you know what I mean? And I guess he was getting angry with Bobby or whatever, thinking it was something. I don't know. I mean, he told me in there he knew it wasn't us. He just needed to do something different. Anyway, he's telling the story, and Russ walks in, and you gave him like a serious look, and then you kind of looked at me, and I looked at you. You looked back at him, and you said, "Man, that is bullshit." And I about peed on myself. Because, like, I don't want to call some of these fuckers out, but it's like, what is this, like my 24th, 5th year of doing archery shit?
It's a long time. Long enough where when I walk in the room, like, I know you're the expert. No matter how smart I think I am. You've been doing it that long.
You're like, there's a fucking wizard.
Yep. If it's anything to do with a bow.
So, anyway, you called him out. It honestly, I'm glad you came in, because it lightened the mood. Because I'm not going to argue with the guy, but I was just like, I hate those situations, because it's like, we know what's going on. He don't know what's going on, but he just knows it keeps derailing. So anyway, we changed some stuff, and he ended up on the new setup with more poundage and this, that, and other, trying to avoid what was going on. I hadn't heard from him, so hopefully it didn't derail.
Yeah. My point to this whole podcast and to this whole story is it's the same way. It really doesn't matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're working on a gun, or if you're the plumber, or you're the electrician, or you're the bow man, or you're the the sunglass dude, the Costa rep. Honesty's always the best policy. You're going to get the bow fixed quicker if you just come in and say, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Don't you know what I mean? It's not a manufacturer's defect.
Me and Partain just talked about this because he's a safety man, and he had to go up Sunbelt because it's safety week or some shit. And he was telling me about his little speech he gave, and they all like put him up on their shoulders, and anyway. But
that's a lie. They didn't pick his big ass up on no shoulder.
I mean, he's a big fella.
Ain't nobody pick him up.
He's a large archer.
Unless they had like a lull.
He's jolly though.
He is jolly. I love him.
He basically said he told those folks, when you see a safety issue, it's all about how you approach the guy. Like if you go up to him and say, hey, you're a dumbass, blah, 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 like they're going to say, fuck you. But if you go up to them and like are nice about it and say, hey, I don't know if you realize, in a nicer way, you'll get a lot further. But it's the same thing with the bow stuff. Here's an example. Right? A guy called me last week, and it sucks the way this story ends. So prepare yourself. He said, I ordered 2 Raven.
Does anybody die?
No.
Okay, good. It ain't that bad.
He said, I ordered 2 Raven crossbow strings from you like 2 weeks ago. He said, they've been sitting in Memphis, Tennessee at some distribution center for like a week, hadn't moved. I'm supposed to be going on a hunt in like 2 days. Super nice guy. Is there anything you can do? Whatever. And I was like, I'm going to overnight you a fucking set of strings tonight. You know what I mean? And I did it. I felt good. I didn't charge him anything. The motherfuckers, that set got stuck in Memphis. He called me yesterday, and I could have squalled, because now what the fuck do I do?
Drive him to his house?
I don't know. I can't remember where he was at.
That's an awful story.
But he was nice on the phone. Fuckers call like the day before hunting season, and they're like, I got to have a string put on today. And I'm like, well, you ain't fucking getting it here. You know what I mean? I don't say it that way,
right.
But like, it's all in the attitude. I'd meet a fucker out here at midnight if I felt like he was a humble dude versus like last week a jackass called like wanting all this stuff done right now. And I'm like, nope, we're backed up. Call whoever.
Yeah.
And then they told him they were like 3 months behind, so he called us back squalling, they said they were 3 months behind. Well, I guess leaving it a week's not so bad, is it?
Man, it's all in the approach to, just like Partain was saying, it's all in the approach to the person. It's no different than a homeowner or somebody coming in here to buy a bow. Like I knew I could say, just from meeting that guy, I read people really well, and I could tell like it was gonna be okay to say, man, that's bullshit.
It wasn't like tense, but like I was just sitting there thinking, fuck, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that did lighten the.
So like I get it, but like I'm like super good at reading people.
You are.
And I could tell that guy was not gonna get bent out of shape, and then me and you have to call TJ in here to manhandle him.
Right.
And I could tell just from over the years being around people, because basically you got 4 types of. Everybody's an animal. There's four personalities: a lamb, a tiger, a bull, and an owl. And you can basically lump every single person on the planet into those, from my experience, into those 4 categories.
Yeah.
The bull likes control. The owl likes order. The tiger's fun and excitement, and the lamb is pleasing people. And you're, in essence, a salesperson when they come in.
Yeah.
You want to provide a really good service, get to know them. It's going to end up in repeat business, more business, buying accessories. They're not going to come in with the whole, they don't want to tell you they dropped the bow.
Right.
It's going to be some kind of, it must be a manufacturer, because they're afraid they're going to have to pay for something. That's what it boils down to.
We had a guy, I meant to tell this the other week, me and TJ were going through bullshit stories. This fucker, let me think. He may have found us on here, so I may need to be careful how I word this. But he called us and wanted a specific bow, something we can get but don't carry. And I was like, we don't have one. I can have you one in 7-10 days. He's like, I'll call you back. I'll let you know, whatever. Don't hear nothing. So about a month later, I get another call. He said, listen, I ordered one of those bows online and it has exploded. And you're my closest dealer for those bows. Can y'all fix it? And I was like, yes. But according to what like you mean by it's, he just said the string is off of it. And I was like, we need to see it. Because that could just mean we put the string on it. That could mean the cams are fucked. So he gets here and then adds to the story. This is his second one. He ordered one offline, blew the motherfucker up, sent it back, got the second one, blew this one up. The day he got it, cams are fucked, everything's fucked. So we call the manufacturer and send them some pictures, and they're like, yeah, this guy dry fired the shit out of this. We're not doing anything with it. And they said, not only that, this bow came out of like New York and was like a demo bow, and like there's like 12 flags that go up. So basically, we call this guy back and say, you might as well come get it, because unless you want to pay like $250, they're not going to cover it. You need to go through whoever, because it was, first of all, like a demo bow, and knowing, like, I hate it for whoever sold it to him, but they've already dealt with him before, obviously. And anyway, don't just call me and say the string fucking hopped off of it.
That's what I'm saying about the whole thing.
I don't get my panties in a wad when people buy shit elsewhere. You know what I mean? I really don't. And I know people sometimes think everybody does because of other shops in the area that do. So, like, not a big deal. But it was bullshit. Like, you call me, I can get you one here in a few days. Fuck you. I'm going to order it off the internet. It blows up. Get another one. Blows up. But then let's call back the damn original guy. I got to show you something. This leads into a hell of a story. I don't think y'all know this, or maybe you do if you're local. But so we, a couple of years ago, started filming some weddings. Not during the busy season, but like, and TJ helps me. I got a cousin that helps me. I got a couple people that help me. But we started doing some wedding filming and this, that, and the other. Anyway, this chick reached out to me about 6 months ago wanting the price list, and I sent it to her, talked to her. She ghosted me, which is fine. About 50% of the people do. She went with the cheaper option. Well, she messages me 2 nights ago and says, she just basically said, I got to be honest with you. I went with somebody else. They were like a quarter of what you charged, but they just sent me my video. And I don't care what it costs, is there any way you can fix this shit?
Fix the footage?
Let me just show you a quick. I don't want to put this on here, because like,
I get it.
You know what I mean? But I got to show you real quick. This is some wild shit right here. Hang on, I got to find.
My point to the whole thing is this: while you're looking,
okay,
how much quicker? How quick can you fix a bow? If I come in and say, "Hey, I dropped it out of the tree. I went to shoot it a couple times. The limb sounds like they're cracking." Versus, "Hey, man, I don't know. It's making weird noises."
Well,
how much quicker can you?
I mean,
address what the actual issue is and fix what it is. It's like going to the doctor, knowing you. You drank a bunch the night before.
Yeah.
And not telling them you was drinking. Like, I don't know, man. I don't get it.
Just look at. We'll keep talking, but look at the colors and shit in that. Like, what the fuck?
Holy shit! She married Meatloaf.
I got so damn tickled, and
they put this on YouTube.
So basically, she's like, "Can you do anything to fix it?" And I was like, "Send me if he has like the raw
What's
video."
What's up with the like everything's gray?
It's green and red. It's wild. And I was like, as bad as that is, unless it's in a certain format, there's nothing I can do. Send me what you got. See what he's got. I mean,
that's a pretty venue.
You could have filmed it on a fucking cell phone better. You know what I mean? Like, it's awful. But it just reminded me of that when you were talking about the price. Like, this guy's like a quarter cheaper, or a quarter of my price according to her, and all this shit.
I can't even watch no more.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's the colors are like the whole screen. It's this red, green, blue. At the end of it, like,
I'll be done killed him.
The photographer's ass is like,
pay for what you get, man.
You do, and like, I don't know. I got story after story
but
about.
She's
shit
up front.
She was.
Hey,
and honest to God, she sent me what she had, and I said, "Give me a minute," and I went into all my editing shit and tried, but it's so fucked up. You can't fix it. It's so green and blue. Yeah,
I mean, it looks
I would have to have. Like, they call it the raw footage, which is like not just all the footage, it's like what format the footage is in. Like, I need it in. Most people don't even film this way because they're probably dumbasses, but what they call raw RAW footage is where you can like really play with the colors and shit. And he didn't even, of course, use that.
So can you do RAW footage on your phone?
The newest of new phones, yes. What is that? What is that?
I don't know. iPhone something. With
if it's a new one, you probably can.
It's got 3 cameras on it.
But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But oh man, so the bow hanging right there is a Bear Rant.
The one by itself?
Yeah.
On the rack by
it came in blowed up. Is the camera? Yeah, we're still recording. It came in and like the screw you put a fucking light switch plate on with?
Yeah.
That's what they've got on that cam for a draw stop. It came in blowed all to hell.
Who did that?
I don't know. Bobby took it in. I put the string on it yesterday and didn't realize. I mean, I just knew I need to make a string for it. And I was putting the string on. I'm like, what in the teetotal fuck is this? It was missing the cable rod. It's got a fucking light switch screw in the cam. Oh, man. So it's just like, what in the hell? What I got, I don't know the guy. I didn't talk to the guy. Bobby took it in. I got to talk to Bobby. But, like, I bet it's one of those deals. It's like, I need a string on this so I can put this thing in the pawn shop or some shit. You know what I mean? Or eBay or Craigslist or whatever the hell. But it's just...
It's frustrating.
It is.
I get very frustrated.
I don't know. Some stuff should just be common sense.
I mean, for me, it's all integrity and character, and like, I'm not gonna come in and lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Plus, I want my bow fixed. I want my bow fixed right. This is what's happening. This is what I did. This is what I didn't do.
Here's another.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why do people reach and search so hard for the problem not to be their fault?
I don't know. I think the internet. I don't know. Maybe it's always been that way.
I would say 9 out of 10 problems are going to be the shooter every single time.
I sold a bow.
Very rarely would it be a manufactured defect. I
sold a bow or bows to this whole family. I mean, they bought like 6 prime bows. 2 or 3 days later, I get a call. I don't know what happened, but my cam is bent. That don't just happen. You know what I mean? Like, I know what happened already, but I was like, let me see it, whatever. Man, he was just shooting it, and this happened. I was like, bring it to the shop. So what I think happened to confuse them was, I think an arrow knot potentially broke, and it 3/4 dry fired it, and they didn't understand what happened, because I said, where'd the arrow go? They were like, oh, hell, pieces of the arrow went everywhere. I said, was it loud? It wasn't like super loud, but it was loud and different. So basically, I'm like, y'all spent like $6 or $8 grand. I'm gonna get you some cams. I'm gonna make sure you get fixed up.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I don't think they ever realized it was sort of their fault. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What probably happened was the knock wasn't clicked all the way in. It was just like barely on there, and then whatever. It probably jackhammered the back of the knock, broke the arrow. Did this whole thing. The cams are over there somewhere. They're warped all to hell. In the end, everybody's happy, but it's like, what the fuck?
Do you remember, I want to say it was Archeryshack bows. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
So we were getting ready to go to Illinois, literally in 2 days. So we got the idea we're going to hang this lock on over at my buddy Dan's house, and we're going to put a ladder up, easy to get into. We're gonna shoot from up, elevated up in this tree stand like we're gonna do in Illinois.
Can we? I don't mean to stop you, but after this, can we tell the Dan story about the gun safe? Don't let me forget.
All right, I won't. And so Sean, his brother, he's got an AR bow, and Dan and I are shooting Matthews, and Sean's up there shooting, and he's just not shooting right, So he gets down, he's like, man, I keep hearing a bunch of clicking. You know what I'm saying? He's like, man, I keep hearing clicking. And I'm like, all right. So he knocks the arrow, and I put my ear, like, right up against it. I'm like, all right, pull it back. I got my ear up against it. The limbs explode.
Damn.
Beside my head, dude. 2 days before we're leaving. This is no joke. And they get, I don't remember who got it done, but they got limbs like overnighted and put on that bow and fixed for him before we left for Illinois 2 days later. But it
I
blew up beside my head.
got two stories off of that one. One, the sea otter one time forgot to put an arrow in his bow, and I was sitting on my little 3D chair, and he's shooting right here, but I'm not looking at him. You know what I mean? I just assume, boom, right here. It scared the hell out of me, and it blew his bow to hell. Secondly, I couldn't believe, probably the best customer service story I've got of any bow company. Freddie's bow cracked a limb one time, and this was like 1:00 p.m. on a Friday. I called Matthews. I'm like, listen, a guy that works here, his limb just cracked. I can't remember if he was going on a hunt or if it was just hunting season or what. And however they did it, at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, a new set of limbs walked in. And I'm like, what? How in the hell did this happen? And this was in like 2002.
That was early.
I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it.
That was before the what was the thing back in the back with the video where you shot the animals?
Oh, the dart system.
It was before that thing got shot with the
broadhead.
Yeah, the broadhead and the field points.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy, dude.
But man, the stories.
We could do just stories from bucks and bass, homie.
Oh yeah. There were some like
Remember the guy? Him and Freddie had the same bow. He grabbed the wrong bow, and the arrow slid off and shot through his
Larry Thompson.
hand.
He's dead now. Yeah, it shot him. It was the exact same setup because he shot Freddie's and was like, "I love this." It was a Whisker Biscuit, a Matthews Q2, like exact same setup.
That was a good bow, homie.
It was.
That was a good bow.
He grabbed one of Freddie's arrows and it went in like right here and out the tip of his finger with fucking feathers. And he come in the next day. His right here, I mean, was huge and wrapped up. He was like, "I'll take it." And I was like, holy shit. That happened. The guy, TJ, cut some arrows for a guy up there one day. And I guess it was just a bad batch of carbon arrows. I don't know. I've never seen it before, but the damn arrow exploded. I was at the damn mall off that day buying like sunglasses or something. And Charlie called me and was like, "Where the fuck are you at?" I was like, "Up here at the mall." She was like, "Get here now. An arrow's in a guy's arm and all this." And I'm like, "Oh shit." I get there. TJ's like gagging in the corner. I'm like, "Dude, you've skinned a deer before. What the fuck?" He's like, "This is different." The ambulance comes. The guy says, "I'm good, whatever." But like, we're pulling fucking pieces of carbon out of his arm like that.
I got a good story to tell about that.
And anyway, the guy didn't sue or anything, but we never figured out why in the hell the arrow exploded. But before your story, Dan Ray got drunk, talked his wife into getting into the new gun safe and locked that bitch. And then freaked and punched the wrong code in like 5 times, and it locked for 30 minutes.
So we were in our late 20s, early 30s, and we've been working on his deck. And we started drinking towards the end of the day. And I'm like, "Man, I got to get home. It's late. I got 2 little, one teenage daughter and 2 little bitty youngins, and I'm like, I got to get home or I'm going to get myself killed." So I took off and went home. Next morning, Dan calls me on the phone. It's like Saturday morning. He calls me at like 8 o'clock. And it was summertime. He said, "Hey, man, I need to talk." And I'm like, "All right, what's going on?" He's like, "I'm only telling you this because you might have done the same thing."
Oh, God.
And I'm thinking, everything on the planet went through my head. I'm like, what has this fool done? You know what I mean? I'm like, what has he done? I'm like, tell me what happened, dude. He's like, "Well, you know how I got that big gun safe?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, man, I got to drinking a little bit more, and I talk." And his wife is like tiny, like little bitty, like 90 pounds, And he's like, "Well, I talked Kim into getting in the gun safe," and he said, "All right." I was like, "So what happened?" He's like, "Well," he's like, "then I talked her into letting me shut the door," and I was like, "All right, then what happened?" And he's like, "Well, I thought it'd be funny to punch the code in and act like I couldn't get into it, and it froze. It shut the gun safe down."
Because I think he bought it from Chris Powell.
He bought it from Chris Powell.
Chris said he called him freaked the hell out.
Yep. And so he called. So before all this, before he even calls Chris Powell and Dave Henderson,
she had asthma or something.
Yes, she had been in the hospital a couple years before, had really bad asthma.
He was like, "She's gonna suffocate. I'm gonna D-walk through this motherfucker and stick her nebulizer in."
He starts freaking out. He runs over, he grabs the DeWalt battery and throws it on the charger. Then he goes in the house, yanks all the ice maker tubing out.
Oh, shit.
Then he tells her brace herself.
Brace herself.
Yeah, he's going to push the safe over with her in it.
Oh, shit.
And unbolt the 4x4s. And he thinks he can get that tube, the ice maker tube, up through that hole where she can get it in her mouth and he can nebulize her through this tube, right?
You can't make this shit up.
So everything he's trying is failing. And she's screaming at him the whole time, call the damn cops. And he's worried to death that they're going to come and tear his safe up, so he don't want to call the cops.
Oh, shit.
So he said right there towards the end, he said, man, I didn't know what else to do. He said, before I called Chris and them, he's like, the cops got here and she had died. He's like, they weren't going to believe me, so I tried to get her to scratch a note inside saying it was an accident. So I guess he had called Chris and David, and he said he had heard him pull up at the end of his driveway.
Yeah.
And he said he could hear him dying laughing at the end of the driveway where the mailbox was, but way before they even got to the house. And Chris had told him on the phone, don't touch it. And he said Chris and David got there. They walked in the garage and walked straight over to it. And Chris went, dee-dee-dee, opened right up.
Damn.
He said he took off running from Kim.
Oh, I bet.
But we could sit here and just tell stories about that dude. But that's a good story, man. I've told that thing on the radio. I've told it 100 million times, I bet. It gets better every single time you tell that story.
I feel like
every time.
Chris may have originally told me about that, but didn't he didn't know maybe the first part of the details, and then you filled me in, or Freddie or somebody did, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he's
my favorite parts though, I could just see him with a DeWalt and it's not doing shit.
12 volt, a little bitty one. A little bitty one, dude. And he's one of them guys that'll go to like the little auctions and buy bid on a bucket of drill bits, for like $5. That's Dan.
Damn.
I mean, that's Ray. I mean, now everything else he's got, all of his hunting stuff is like super high end, but yeah, dude, there's a ton of stories and you know what? He'll hurt himself something awful, but he will not get you hurt.
Yeah.
But man, he is the most danger prone human being I've ever been around, ever, in my whole life. But he'll never get you hurt. He'll get you in trouble, but he won't get you hurt, and he'll hurt himself in a damn minute. He bought a helium. I don't know if you remember the helium, Matthews.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a helium, and I'd ordered this bow from somebody else, and it came in. He was wanting a helium, and I had some torch. Remember when the torch arrows and all that came out?
Oh, yeah.
So he wanted to buy that bow before he took off to Kansas. I'm like, all right, I'll sell it to you. So I sold him that bow, going through the areas, sitting at the hunting club, and we're like, hey, man, don't shoot this one. It was frayed at the end where the insert was. Mm-hmm. Like, don't shoot this arrow. So he's like a prankster, sends you a picture of a deer from Kentucky and look what I got over on Amity Road.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there at the house. He was hunting. He was out in Kansas, and I get my phone dings. I get it. I pull it up, and it's a hand on a tray, right, at the hospital, and it's got a carbonera broke and splintered all through here in somebody's hand and coming out there. Or actually, it was on his left hand. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That ain't you. Blah 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 blah. The next picture the nurse took of him sitting there and then picking the graphite and the carbon or whatever out of his hand.
Damn.
And I'm like, what did you do? He said,
shot that arrow.
I shot that arrow. Well, it blew up, and the last 6 inches with the fletching stuck his hand to the wooden grip on that mat. It stuck it to it.
Damn.
And so he's at the hospital. They're digging it out. This is no joke. I'm not lying to you. Gets his hand wrapped up. Within 24 hours, he sent me a picture of his hand bandaged up and him holding a 10-pointer.
Damn.
By a 150-inch 10-pointer he had shot out in Kansas.
Lucky fucker.
With his hand bent, I'm not kidding you, bandaged up like that, shooting that bow. And didn't blame me for selling him bad arrows.
I've always wanted.
I told you don't shoot that shit.
I know it's not like a common thing for that to happen, but I know at one point somebody was selling like a Kevlar shooting glove, like to where if a damn arrow blew up, you wouldn't get fucked. And I always thought it like that's not a bad idea. It never really caught on. I mean, I never bought one, but like I've never personally had one. Well, I've had an arrow, those dumbass, we talked about it the other week, deer crossing archery arrows. I had one break in half one time in here when I was tuning the bow, and it scared the shit out of me, but it didn't go in my hand. But anyway, other than that, I've never been shooting a bow and it one blow up.
I've never had an arrow blow up, and I've never had a limb blow up, ever. I mean, I've had sights break, wrists break, all that stuff. I've had the arrows break.
Yeah.
But I've never shot. You're recording. I've never shot an arrow that's blown up when I released.
Yeah.
I've never blown up limbs. Nothing like that ever. Not that I know of.
For the most part, fuckers that take care of their shit, like, don't have too many problems. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've been lucky because honestly, like, I've fallen out of 2 climbers before, and 100% should not be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got hung in an old man stand with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Shot a doe. I was climbing down. The bottom fell. My arm got caught in the backpack strap, falling through it, and jerked my arm out of socket. And I ended up getting down. And then the other one, I was in a Brent Hunt trophy whitetail that faced the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. Stood up. The bottom broke away. I fell out of that one backwards. And that was one of the last times I ever did not wear a safety harness. But I literally just should not be here over that.
We got a guy that comes in right before deer season started. He was pig hunting out of his lock-on, 22-foot. Boom, he went to the ground, hurt his wrist a little bit, but come walking in here the next day. I'd heard about it, so I call him, and I'm like, fucker, are you okay? And he's like, I guess, whatever. He's a big dude, and he walked in the next day, and I'm like, I was just astonished that you're even walking. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
He understood like he should have been hurt, but like I expected like, you know, Chris Powell fell that year.
He got really bad messed up.
Daryl Isom, all them ended up. Dan fell. All them ended up in the hospital for like a long time type deal, and this guy just walks away. It's like holy shit, man. Dan
fell. Him and I and Gavin, his son, were bow hunting, and he's like, "Hey, going down to the creek. There's a lock on. I knew where it was." He said, I'm going to get Gavin in the tree and make sure he gets his harness on, right? Well, Dan's one of them dudes that has to clear out a mile around everything. It has to have a 100 freaking inch plasma TV view of everything he's looking at. So he climbs up in the tree. Well, he had cut punji sticks, just trimming saplings off around the tree. He gets Gavin up in the tree, and I get a text. Hey, man, I think we're going to get down about 9. I'm going to go to the hospital. And I'm like,
oh, shit.
What the hell? I was like, what happened? Oh, I'm all right. He's like, come by the house later, you know, I'm fine. I'm like, all right, cool. So I get done hunting, I leave. He's gone. Him and Gavin are gone. I went to work. Man, I come home from work, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to ride by and just check on him, you know, see how he's doing. I go, and like, him and I have always just walked in each other's houses. So I just went through the garage, opened up the door. I hear coming across the floor, and I go around the corner and look. He got one of them little bikes with no motor on it, wheeling himself around.
Damn.
I'm like, what'd you do? So he stepped off the back of that platform once he got Gavin harnessed in.
Yep.
Dark, wasn't paying attention, fell 25 feet, landed somehow in between the punji sticks.
Damn.
Broke his heels. I don't know if you guys know that you can do this, but he broke his heels off of his actual foot. Like off of his foot. So he had to go through all kind of crap.
Damn.
With that, but his heels weren't attached. He broke them where they weren't attached to his feet. And so he was in that little wheelchair thing, that little non-motor scooter bike thing. I laughed. I thought I was going to piss on my pants at him over that. But he was, you know, knock on wood, he was fine. But he is he's a very clumsy, dangerous human being to himself.
Damn.
He would never do anything to get you hurt, but
I need to go in the house and cook some dinner before my wife kills me.
Yeah, I probably need to too, homie.
So I'm gonna go to Disney next week. I've never been there before. It might be a huge pain in the ass.
You'll have a good time.
And then the next week, you should come back and me, you, and TJ do another one because you're bringing up a bunch of stories that I forgot about.
I'm good with that.
But y'all need to give Russ some encouragement in the comments to not ghost us for 2 years. But all joking aside, I'm glad you're back, and hopefully in a week or two you can come back with me and TJ and we can chat it up because we got good stories.
I love the teacher.
Oh, Tej. He's down at the beach right now.
I love the Tej. Old skinny Tej. Went from eating like 2 boxes of Little Debbie's a day to none.
Mm-hmm. He's down there.
Addicted to mountain ops.
With his glorious beard blowing in the wind, shirtless. Yep. He went down there and went through that hurricane the first day and had to eat like animal crackers to survive. And now they're living a life of luxury. Anyway, we'll get off here.
All right, homie.
Thank you for being on here with me.
See you guys.
See y'all.